The David Pakman Show at davidpakman.com.
It's the bonus show. I have a story here about Turkey. In an attempt to boost tourism, more specifically people who enjoy diving, Turkish authorities have sunk an A300 Airbus off the coast, and you might be thinking, how could this possibly boost tourism? Well,
I'm guessing it was making people nervous in some way.
Wait a minute, what?
I'm guessing it was making people nervous to see it there.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't sitting there. This is one that they brought over here specifically for the purpose of sinking.
Oh, I was imagining like there's half of an airplane sticking out of the water, and it's really freaking people out. So they're like, we're going to sink this entire thing because it's hurting tourism.
Nope. They brought in a plane that has been gutted, and they are going to sink it because when you sink a plane, it almost acts as a reef.
Oh, right.
Yeah, it brings in the life, and it's a magnet for creatures and all sorts of things.
Right.
It's a 36-year-old airplane. It was bought by this municipality from a private company, and the prices here are, unfortunately, only in pounds and in Turkish lira. But what's 64,000 pounds? What is that? Something like?
I think roughly speaking, it's like $90,000.
Okay.
I thought, for whatever reason, I thought that we were at about $1.40 something per pound, or that may be off, but it's a rough estimate.
Yeah, I would guess between 80 and 90, around there is reasonable. Well, is that reasonable? Well, it's a lot of metal we're talking about here. I mean, That's not cheap. But anyway.
Compared to what the plane would cost as a plane, though, we're talking about pennies.
Oh, yeah. Wow. How much is one of these brand new or right off the line?
I mean, millions and millions of dollars, yeah.
Yeah. Super expensive. People gathered and they watched the sinking of the plane, and it's an interesting move. At the same time, you are dropping a ton of metal into the ocean. I mean, you could say that regardless of what what decides to live in it, that this is maybe harmful overall.
Supposedly this is not harmful, and it's done often with old ships, and they turn effectively into coral reefs, and it's been done for a while. I hadn't heard of it being done with an airplane. Maybe that's the new thing, but I'm guessing this is not the first time.
Yeah. I mean, there's so much to see and do in Turkey. You are probably better off just advertising online about all the things there are to see. But why specifically you'd be trying to attract divers, I don't know. But then again, maybe, whatever, $90,000, $100,000 if you include the cost of the work and transportation, maybe a bit more. Maybe they think it'll pay off.
You can make that up pretty quickly. I've never done any kind of diving thing during any vacation.
I was just going to say that. Me neither.
It's not that interesting to me, more because you just hear horror stories about the water tanks, people getting an air bubble in their in the hose that sends them the oxygen, or is it water? I don't know. I don't even know. I mean, obviously there's going to be air in your air tank, not your water tank. I just hear these stories, and I have this nightmare scenario of like being trapped if I'm like diving into a plane reef, for example, and like getting stuck or not being able to find my way out. Just these, I don't know that I need it. I'm fine just sort of looking down with goggles from the surface of the water. I don't need to be diving around.
People swear by it, though. People get into it, and then it's like all they want to do ever is just keep doing that. And there's got to be. I would like to experience it. Of course, a lot can go wrong, but I am kind of interested in it. All right. Yesterday we told you on the regular show about the 23-year-old 23-year-old Stanford swimmer, all-American boy, raped an unconscious girl behind a dumpster somewhere, and was charged and convicted and received 6 months with the possibility to get out in 3 months with good behavior. So the father has just wrote something. I don't know what it is, but there's some pretty interesting stuff in this letter, or whatever you want to call it. And there's one thing in particular that people are not really liking. And that is that the father said, quote, that is well, let me back up a little bit. His life will never be the one that he dreamed about and worked so hard to achieve. That is a steep price to pay for 20 minutes of action out of his 20 years of life.
20 minutes of action. You can kill someone in 30 seconds.
Yeah, how long does it take to shoot someone in the head?
Does the fact that it's only 30 seconds during which you were committing a crime mean the punishment shouldn't really be that severe? Because, hey, listen, after all, 30 seconds. It's just 30 seconds. I mean, this is just a ridiculous argument.
It's pretty stupid. Normal behavior for a parent to defend their kid no matter what.
Of course.
Like the mother of the Tsarnaev brothers, the Boston Marathon bombers, was like, oh, the government set these kids up. Or she wasn't the only one saying that.
No.
But,
she had plenty of people on YouTube who agreed with her.
Yeah. Still completely unable to come to the realization that her kids were scumbags, which, can be tough for a parent.
Absolutely.
But, logic, I'm going to sound like a Vulcan here, but logic, has quite a bit to offer us. And
if you accidentally had a kid and things worked out, you love the kid, but then your kid's a scumbag, you still love the kid? Probably.
Yeah, I'd probably still love the kid, but I'd have no problem facing the reality and
you say
doing
that
what
now.
needs to be done.
You say that now.
We're talking about me here.
Right, okay.
Come on.
I forgot.
You don't think I'd be capable of turning my son in, let's say, if my son was a marathon bomber?
No, I think if your son's a marathon bomber, you'll turn him in.
What if my son is a rapist?
Probably not.
Are you serious? Oh, wow. Dave, high praise coming from Dave over here.
Statutory rape, like if you knew that he was with a girlfriend who was just legally under the age at which that's a legal relationship, or are you talking about sexual assault rape, not non-statutory rape?
I'm talking about non-statutory, depending on the situation.
Statutory rape you're fine with, right? I mean, if it's a consensual relationship to the extent that you believe she can consent.
Yeah, of course. If I believe that she is that she can consent, if my son is if I have a son or daughter, if I believe that the other person can consent and is mature enough to make those decisions. Yeah, I don't care what the statute of the law says about that. And
good.
I've said that before. I mean, how can you even? Where do you draw the line? We've talked about that a million times.
Yeah.
And, someone decided it was 18 in most places.
Right.
So that's that, according to the law. Anyway, I guess we have the mugshot now of this kid, and wow, he does not look like that yearbook picture that we saw before. Have you seen this picture?
I have, yeah.
Wow.
Can you hold it up for the camera, maybe?
It's not. You're not going to be able to see it that well, but
yeah.
It's creepy to say the least. Anyway, yeah, that's what Dad says, and people aren't happy about it.
No.
Okay. Right after Dave left the studio yesterday, Dave is always getting scam phone calls from telemarketers all the time. And I never get any calls like this. It's always someone from India who's selling him Viagra or something like that, or some energy company that is selling something great. So I get a phone call from a private number, and I'm thinking, the first thing I thought to myself was, oh, I have a friend who always calls from a private number. Maybe this is that friend. I pick up, I say, hello, and I don't hear anything. And I'm about to hang up. I hear a little bit of noise, so I say hello again. And then some Hispanic guy starts talking to me.
In Spanish?
No, it's in English, but I can tell he's Hispanic. He says, hello, sir. Yes, it sounds like he's reading off a script. It sounds almost automated. I wanted to tell you that your brother got into a car accident right outside my house.
Yep.
And have you had a call like this before?
I'll tell you in a sec.
Okay.
Yeah.
And he may have a collapsed lung. And immediately the red flag in my head, and I'm like, oh, not good. He's like, my wife is attending to him, and can you tell me your brother's name so that my wife can confirm that you are family? And so I wasn't recording this. I mean, I actually gave my brother's real name. I don't even care. I just said, it's Matthew. I'm like, oh, Matthew. And then he pretends to be talking to a woman, and he says, is his name Matthew? And sure enough, it's Matthew.
It is, yeah.
What do you know?
Lo and behold.
It's Matthew. And then he says, my wife is attending to him. And I'm like, oh, where did this happen? And like, it almost seems as if he's going off a script. He seems to be ignoring my questions, and he just keeps talking.
Yeah.
But things escalate very quickly. And I hear him say, he starts getting a little agitated, and I hear him say, oh, honey, you go back in the house, take the kid, go back in the house, lock the door.
Lock the door, yeah.
Lock the
As if
door.
all of a sudden when your brother's condition becomes more serious in this theater of the mind, you need to be locked in the house.
No, you have no idea how insane this gets.
Okay.
This is really incredible. This is all happening very quickly, mind you. I don't know how long I was on the phone. It was a very short amount of time.
Was John here? Was John the
Yes,
intern here?
John was here, and yeah, it was very short. And so he says, honey, go in the wife, take the kid, go in. He's like, listen, your brother's in a lot of danger right now. And he starts kind of rambling about his brother, and his brother is dangerous and wanted for murder. And it's this all incredible story. And then he says, I keep asking him questions. I'm kind of like poking and
Now,
prodding.
do you know at this point that it's a scam?
Do I know?
Yeah.
Oh,
you knew from the
course,
beginning.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah. I knew from the beginning that this is a scam. And he's like, your brother is in danger because he didn't call 911. He instead wanted to call you. He's like, my brother is coming, and you need to do what I tell you, or something like this. And then I hear it's almost as if he was like pretending to be a different person. I can't really tell because he goes from the good guy to the bad guy very quickly. I don't know if he was pretending to be his brother.
Right.
This whole thing was orchestrated so poorly that it was really hard to follow exactly what was happening. And then all of a sudden, apparently my brother has tape over his mouth and is a prisoner, and someone is there with a gun pointed at my brother, right? And
It's like, when do they ask for the money?
I know, hold on. And they didn't because I never gave him the opportunity.
Right.
So then he says, no, don't take the tape off his mouth. Don't take the tape off his mouth. And the guy makes this noise. And I can tell it's him. And he's trying to make it sound as if my brother is there with tape over his mouth. And very poorly done.
Now, I hate to interrupt, but at the beginning, did they say, is this Lewis? I'm looking for Lewis?
No.
They did? Okay.
No. And so the whole time I'm hearing him speak, I mean, he's trying to put on an act, but he's a very bad actor.
Yeah.
And the whole thing is completely unconvincing, and just the whole thing is so outrageous. It's completely unbelievable.
Yeah.
And then he says, listen to me, like, we're going to shoot your brother. Are you going to do what I say? And I'm still asking questions. I'm like, what state are you in?
Right.
I want to see if this guy even has the presence of mind to look at the area code he dialed,
right,
and figure out what state it's in. And I'm like, I just want to know, he's very agitated and angry at this point. And I'm like, I just want to know what state you're in. Can you tell me what state this happened in? And he's like, all right, motherfucker, you listen to me, motherfucker. You're going to do what I say, or we're going to shoot your brother in the leg. And I'm like, at one point I look over at John, and I'm like, while this guy's still rambling, and I say out loud, he can hear me. I say, John, you should hear this guy trying to scam me. This is incredible. And I go back on the phone. It starts with a motherfucker. We're going to shoot your brother in the leg thing. And I say, oh, go ahead, shoot him in the leg. He owes me tons of money.
Yeah.
And he just goes, okay, we're going to shoot him, and hangs up.
Right.
At no point did he even ask for money.
I wonder what it is that they wanted you to do. Like when they said, are you going to do what we say?
Yeah.
I would have tried to get that out of them. Like, what is it they want?
The thing is, like, I had work to do, and I wasn't recording it because I totally caught me off guard. My recorder wasn't on. And I mean, I would have loved to toy with this guy.
Yeah.
But it just didn't make sense to anymore. And so the end game has got to be a credit card number. I mean, what else could it be?
Maybe.
He's not going to send me, he's not going to have me send him a check, right?
Right. No, probably not.
So anyway.
The similar one we had was my brother got a call once when there was this 2-week period where after he was working for the Stephanie Miller show in LA, but just before he went to Tel Aviv for graduate school, He was living at my mom's house for like 10 days or something like that, you know? And just during that time, the phone rings at like 5 a.m. or something like that. And he picks up the phone and he says, hello? And the person says, hi, yes, is this Natan? And he says, yes, it is. He says, okay, your father has been in a car accident. And
I remember this.
He's in the hospital. And my brother says, oh, is he okay? And the guy says, well, he's going into surgery right now. I'm with the state police. And my brother says, okay, well, what hospital is he at? And this is still in the disorientation of 5 a.m. wake up, right? I mean, It's just crazy. It is very scary. What hospital is he at? And the guy says, he's at the local hospital. Red flag immediately, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you know. And then my brother says, okay, and which hospital is that? And the guy says, Massachusetts, because the caller did say this is Massachusetts State Police or something like that. And very quickly, my brother figured it out and hung up. But I mean, that's very, very scary, you know?
Yeah.
And that was.
But see, the guy, I mean, I don't know how you go from your brother got in a car accident and my wife is attending to him.
Yeah.
I mean,
So he's now a hostage.
45 seconds later, he's got tape over his mouth, a hostage. There's a guy there with a gun.
Right.
I mean, what's, you know, what are you doing?
Yeah, it's not good execution, but that's probably for the better, because if it were better executed, you might have actually bought into it. And even though you probably weren't going to give anyone a credit card number over the phone, who knows how you would have interpreted the whole thing.
I
could have been far more stressful, I guess is what I mean.
It could have been more stressful, yeah. But poor execution. And I mean, I'm just in tune with the whole scam phone call scene. So anyway, there it was. Tell us if you've had a similar experience.
The David Pakman Show at davidpakman.com.